So today we're going to be talking about the Mantis X10, and I'm going to be specifically talking to you guys about some of the ways I relate how the device works, because what the customer wants to know directly is, how is this going to help me shooting? How's this going to help me? And how does it do what you say it's going to do, right? And the way I break this down is I explain that it's not going to tell you, the Mantis device isn't going to tell you what you're shooting at. It's going to tell you why you're missing what you're aiming at, which is much more important information to have, right? The paper's already telling you where you're hitting, but I need to know why I'm hitting low and to the left, not that I'm hitting low and to the left. And that's a great way to explain it to the customer too. It's not what you're hitting, it's why you're missing what you're aiming at, is what it's telling you. And the way it works is it's got accelerometers and gyroscopes, and it's reading my body's input on the weapon in real time. So when I break the trigger, it backs up 1/1000th of a second to where it was oriented and how much I moved and in which direction I moved off the point of aim. And based on the direction, the pitch, the yaw, all that good stuff, it's able to tell me what mistakes I'm making. Like, hey, I'm anticipating the recoil, or I'm slapping the trigger, right? Or I'm shouldering, whatever you're doing wrong, Mantis can diagnose it. It has 14 different unique diagnostic feedbacks for pistols, right? So one of the ways to visually see how sensitive Mantis is and it tracking your motion in real time is the real-time motion tracker. So you just go to any of the drills, open training, whatever, start it, swipe all the way over, and you can see on the screen there how it's tracking all my motion on the weapon platform. And I like to get really stable as I can, and you can still see movement, right? Because it's so sensitive. So this is a great way to convey to people how sensitive Mantis is and why it works, why it's able to give you corrective action on their form, whether it's live fire or dry fire, because you're doing the same motion. It's just there's a concussion at the end of one and there isn't at the end of the other. Continuation, if I'm showing the entire app, I'll take 10 shots, or I'll let the customer take 10 shots. And while they're shooting, I'll explain the score as I've already done. So 100's not humanly repeatable, right? 0 is, hey, you need a lot of help. You know, for combat shooting, 60, 70 is fine, right? If I'm doing, you know, precision 25-yard shooting one hand, then I need to be in the 95s, right? So it's accuracy is relative and how we interpret that data. So you'll take a couple shots, right? Or they'll take a couple shots. I like to say 10, nice round number. And you know, one shot's an anomaly, 10 shots is a trend. When you're done, you hit stop. It gives you your average scores. How are you doing on average, your average stability? And then the red marks indicate which way you pulled the shot. So when I touch the red mark, it breaks down exactly what mistakes I made with my shooting form and how to fix the issue. And as you can see, I can go and select each individual red mark, and it'll just break down exactly what I said, the mistakes and how to correct those issues. But it's typically best to focus on where the largest red mark is, because that is where I deviated the most from my original point of aim, okay? So we've covered how to explain the score and the red marks that indicate the direction the shot was pulled. Let's go ahead and cover the rest of the data that is presented to the customer. So you can see when I swipe over, it breaks down the entire, I guess, training session, you know, until you hit stop, into splits, your scores, and then the shot order. Right, so it presents that information right there. The blue and yellow lines indicate how much movement you've had, or the severity of movement during the different stages of the shot. So blue is your pre-shot movement, and then the yellow is your trigger press. So you can see those lines directly underneath your score, right? So there's a lot more movement on my 69 and 43 than there is on my 89, 87, 87, 88, because obviously those are much more accurate shots, so I'm gonna have a lot less movement. If you swipe through, you go back to the teaching wheel, which gives me my average score and the red marks, right, which we've already covered. The next page over here is a consistency chart. I don't spend a lot of time here, just letting them know that it is there if they want to track their consistency in a quick visual manner. Again, you have a breakdown of the movement during the shot, pre-shot movement, and movement during the trigger press. This is another presentation of that same data you saw on the split page. And then the final page, which is a lot of people's favorite, here is the muzzle trace, right? And you can play the muzzle trace or the shot back in real time. You just hit the little play button here in the bottom left-hand corner. And the blue is your pre-shot movement, Yellow is your trigger press, the white X is your point of impact, the red line is your muzzle flip after the shot. You can zoom in on the page or zoom out, and obviously you want to toggle between the different shots so they can see the difference in muzzle trace between a good shot and a bad shot. Once I'm done explaining all this, I will go down to the settings and let them see the many different ways that Mantis will let them train. So if you're demoing the X10, which predominantly you will be, this is a good moment to point out that it works with both shotguns and bows, and those apps are standalone and they need to go to the Play Store to download them for free. Obviously it works with both pistol and rifle. Right, semi-automatic rifle, it'll work with bolt guns, just not in a super supported shooting position, so not prone or super bagged up, but if you're doing offhand shooting, it will provide helpful feedback. It'll work left to right-handed shooters, live fire, dry fire, CO2, force on force, simunition, CERT. Any way you want to train, this device can pretty much hang with you. So that's a helpful feature, obviously. Below there, you can change the orientation. So whether you have the device mounted on the base plate facing forward, or you have it on an AR, right, and you've put it somewhere else on the quad rail, or you have it facing the other way, you can make those adjustments to the app so it continues to provide the correct feedback to you. When I get done presenting all of the settings features, I like to move back over to the courses and drills. This highlights to the customer all the other things that Mantis does for them. They have a lot more to do as far as training and what we offer than just aiming at a wall, shooting at the same point, right, over and over again, because that gets boring. We have compression surprise break drills, I have hostage drills, I have cadence shooting drills, I have reload drills, so anything you want to work on in the wheelhouse, there's something there for you. And then below we have our courses listed. So whenever a customer completes a course, we send them a patch as a, hey, thank you for taking your training seriously, congratulations on completing the course, probably get after that next one. Above all the drills, you can see we actually have our daily challenge that we've been pushing out recently. This is a challenge that changes every single day. You compete in whatever the drill is, whatever the course of fire is, and it compares your results against everyone else that took the challenge that day. So you can see what percentile you stack up against all the other Mantis users that participated, which is a lot of fun. I know none of you are competitive, so that wouldn't drive any of your customers, right? The final two drills at the top are the exclusive X10 drills. We have recoil meter and we have holster draw analysis. I might put in the air when I'm explaining this to the customer that we do have move and shoot coming, and they will get that for free if they get the Mantis X10. We like to say it's future-proofed because you're gonna get all the future updates for free, never have to pay for any of that. So the holster draw analysis is completely revolutionary. It's breaking down your holster draw into 5 different time segments, right? How long it takes to get to the gun, pull the weapon, transition, punch out, take your shot. And it breaks it down color coordination and time. So the customer can get a visual representation, oh, here are the different segments, and then see the time breakdowns as well. We also provide the average on the far left-hand side. And when I demo this for customers, I do like to take 5 or 6 draws so they can see the comparison and really understand the value in the app and device, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look real quick. I've got several draws here. I would look for the widest inconsistency in whichever segment I found it, right? And then just work on that part of the draw. So whether it's to the gun, right? Or just pulling, right there, right? Or just pulling up, right? I would just practice that. And then we want to demo the holster draw analysis, right? The motion capture. Obviously I was driving away instead of directly forward, but I'm looking for straight lines. And you can see my lines are, for the most part, pretty straight. That one was a little janky, but the rest of them are pretty straight. And again, it's just showing how incredibly sensitive Mantis is and how it's able to capture the mistakes that you might make when doing a draw, right? Chicken winging, bowling, casting, because the sensor, you have a motion capture device, literally mounted onto your weapon. So that's how I relate the feature set to the customer. I hope you found this information helpful. Leave your comments and questions below.